this video, which is going to be a mod overview on my remix of Orion Blaster's Lynx. This remix was heavily inspired by the Famas G2, which was a French service bullpup rifle thing. You can go look it up on Wikipedia. But I wanted one in Nerf ever since I got in the hobby, so I saw the Lynx and like, hey, that would make a good one. So this one was my prototype. It's printed in green and gray. It has the AccuSaber, some sights off of Thingiverse, and the Tone foregrip by Lone Wolf. But this was a prototype, so we will be working with this one today, which I have just built. Now, a couple things to note about this remix is it's a little bit form over function. And when I say that is I've sacrificed some of the features that are part of the original Lynx for the sake of looks. So the under 30 seconds teardown isn't really going to happen anymore. It can still be field stripped, but it no longer can be field stripped as quickly. So that. Now, before we get started with the teardown, which I will show you how to do, I have been talking to Dan, super awesome guy, and he has given me permission to sell this on my Etsy shop. So if you are interested in a Lynx that looks like this, I will have a link to my Etsy and you can talk to me and purchase one. I would be more than happy to build you one. The files will also be available on my Thingiverse if you would like to print one yourself. Word of warning, some of these parts are only printable on a CR10 or bigger printers. So your Ender 3s, your Prusa Mark 3s are not going to be able to print some of these longer parts like this, and a couple of other things. I'm sorry about that. It's just the way it was. I wanted it to have clean lines with not a lot of breaks, so it is what it is. Now I will go over some of the features. This remix or kit features a replacement top rail, which you can see here. So it replaces the Picatinny, which used to be down here, with this massive carry handle. I know it's massive and practical, you don't have to tell me, but I like stupid things. That's why I like the Famas, is because it looks stupid. I do have Picatinny on here, which kind of helps hold this together. I don't know if you can see, there's a little seam. It has a hook, but this is a little bit floppy unless you have the Picatinny in there, and once you have the Picatinny in there, it is actually a carry handle, like you can carry it. If you don't want the Picatinny, I have optional iron sights that fit in there and back there, and you screw them in, but then once again, that Picatinny, it'll make more sense once I tear it down. I have a stock extension on here because I needed a longer stock, being very tall. This is compatible, however, with all stock Lynx butt plates. I did not modify this part at all, so you can still use the standard one or any other extenders that other people may have designed. I also have this mag release, which became necessary because of this part that I added. I wanted a nice clean transfer between the grip and the rest of the body to give it that smooth line instead of just chopping off there. So this is now here. Doesn't get in the way of your hand, but it does get in the way of the mag release. So I had to add these little flare outs to either side to make it easier to either hit with this finger, or you can come back and hit it here, or you could just yank the mag. Like, it's not that hard of a mag release, but it's there. If you want a gravity drop, you can do so. I have a lot of people ask, no, this is not a functional charging handle, this is a faux charging handle. To make it functional would have been a pain, and let's be honest, top prime is not all that practical. So that is cosmetic, it's just glued on there. I also have the options for a one piece if you want this all to be the same color. I like it in orange, makes it pop a little bit. The rest of it that I have on here is Ender's stuff. So Ender saves the day on Thingiverse. He designed the shroud, he designed the pump grip that works with the shroud, he designed this handguard thing, the cheek rest. All that is his, not mine. Big thanks to him for designing that and giving me permission to sell it. So thank you, Ender. Thank you again, Orion Blasters, for the awesome Lynx. That's about it. Sling Point, it works with the stock Lynx one or the remixed quick detach one. Like I said, I did not alter this part at all, so it will be standard. Yeah, so whichever one of those you prefer, you can go with. As for the sights and the muzzle, which is actually a scar, and the foregrip, I am not licensed to sell those, so if you buy one of these from me, it will not come with those pieces. I will have links to them in the description where you can find them, though. I think that is everything, so without further ado, I will show you how to tear this down and put it back together. First things first, take off whatever foregrip you have on there. I didn't have this attached to save time. You will need to take that off. Next up, these two thumb screws, which hold in the barrel, you're going to need to take those off. Unfortunately, you're going to have to take them off completely, which means you have to turn the blaster upside down so that you do not lose the captive nuts that are in there. There goes one. Let's get the other. It's a little bit hard with the shroud on here, but you can get it. I would not recommend using a tool for this because it will mar up your thumb screws. They are only plastic. I have marred up them before. Now, pop this pin. Something to note is this is still very stiff considering I just put it together, so first tear down may have a couple of bumps, but without too much trouble we can get that pin out, and now the shroud will come off with a little coaxing, hopefully someday. Today. There we go. Had to finagle that to get it off. Like I said, first teardown, rather stiff. So, still trying not to lose the two nuts that are in there. You can now take off, and like I said, there goes one. Other one's still in there. Probably need some super glue to hold those in, but what can you do? Next up, we have to remove the top rail. And to do that, just take out these two screws. If you're printing parts yourself, you will need a couple additional pieces of hardware. You will need 5 extra screws. They are exactly the same as the ones in the hardware kit, so if you buy a hardware kit from Dan, maybe you could ask him to include 5 extras of these, but these are, I believe, number 6 half-inch screws. Just pan head sheet metal screws is what I use, coarse thread. Make sure they're not any longer or else they will poke out the other side, but our top rail should be loose now. So, top rail comes off. This is what I was talking about earlier. These two parts are actually separate, so I do have a little hook design in there, but I guess you could glue it if you really wanted to. That would make takedown a pain, but it'll stay in there with the hook, but like I said, you can't carry it because it's loose. These are the sights I was talking about. They just drop down in there. And this one in the other one. Whoop. Come back. And there you got a nice pair of iron sights. Just like that. I prefer the Picatinny. And there goes the other nut. Put those back in later. I prefer Picatinny because it makes this more solid, like I said before. Now, we can take this front rail off. These are all separate pieces, but they are all attached to the same bar that used to go through the old Picatinny. With that, oh, there goes the other side. Things falling down left and right. With that, you can now take out the catch system and the pump grip. Next thing we need to do is take out another one of these screws, which holds the grip to the magwell. This is probably not a necessary screw, but I included it just because I want this to be as solid as possible and not come apart while you're playing with it. So take that one out. We can now pop off the entire grip receiver assembly, which means we can take off the plunger tube and the spring and the plunger. Whoop. There it is. Keep that in there. The last part of the carry handle comes off there. And now we have access to the back. So you can maintenance whatever you need in there, adjust the O-rings or whatever you need. There's no reason to take the stock off. This is just held in with 2 of the standard screws that he includes, and then another 2 to hold the butt plate to the extension, which I include if you buy from me. Yeah. There's no need to take that off. This is about as much as you need to tear it down. Now, the fun part is putting it back together. So, put the plunger tube back on, like so. Oh, I said put the plunger tube back on, like so. Slide this part. God, I hope all of this is on camera. Line those bars up, all 3 of them. Make sure the plunger tube stays in there. Well, forgot how my own kit goes together. Gotta put this part on first. Like so. And then that sticks in there. Like so. And then the receiver grip goes on, and the plunger tube falls off. I know I'm not doing a good job of showcasing this. I swear it's not as hard as I'm making it look. There we are. We can now put this screw back in to the magwell grip connection point. Don't want to over tighten it. Next up, we will put the catch back in. This is the portion you would tear it down to if you need to access the spring or the plunger, because you can just pull it out from the front. So you probably won't ever need to tear it down further than this, because the only other thing you would need to maintenance is the dart pusher. And nothing really should go wrong with that. Fingers crossed. Next up, we put this back on. Once again, making sure to line up the bars. That one goes on top and in there. The rest of the carry handle can go on here, sliding that into that gap, sliding the 2 bars into the front, and making sure that hook gets locked down in, like so. Now put the carry handle on, or the iron sights if you prefer. Once again, I would highly recommend the carry handle because, or the Picatinny rail, because it adds that much more rigidity. Next, we put these 2 screws back in here. Like so. Like that. Then make sure this one is fully seated. the reason I was having so much trouble with that was because this rail has to be printed vertically, and my printer doesn't do well once it gets very high up, so this end is a little bit harder on the tolerances because it has some wavy lines in it caused by my printer. So, a little bit of trouble, but your printer shouldn't have any problems with that. Next, let's see. Put this part back on. Before I do, I want to make sure these captive nuts go back in there. It's a little hard. You just kind of gotta slip them through the bars, or make sure they don't fall out in the first place would be the preferable way. But I will get back to you once I have those inside. Shroud is back on. Thumb screws are in place. Now take our barrel, slide that back in, give it a twist to seat it in the O-rings, and then tighten these all the way. And last but not least, put our front pin back in, like that. And there we are. So as you can see, Teardown takes a little bit longer with this kit, but if you want your Lynx to look like a Famas, then there you go. So, like I said before, this kit will be available in either fully assembled blasters, like these two, or just the printed parts and the additional hardware that required to put on the Famas kit, mainly these 5 screws. Those will be available on my Etsy. There will be a link in the description. Very much appreciate it. Help me out. You know, all that good stuff. If not, files will be up on Thingiverse, so you can print one yourself. Like I said, CR10S and larger printers only because of the extended parts. No, I will not be remixing it again to make smaller parts. You're just going to have to deal with it, or contact me and maybe I can help you out and print some of the parts for you. We'll see. Either way, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and all of my fumbling and terrible amateur video showing off my thing that I made, whatever. Hope you like it. Have a good one, and I'll see you when I post another video. Yeah.